And welcome back to the Kiosk Presents. Our guest today is Micah Muzio, managing editor for Kelley Blue Book, and he's at the LA Auto Show. Hey, Micah.
Hey, what's going on?
I'll tell you, it's got to be pretty exciting to be at that show. I've heard it's a great show, and never been there myself, but I'd love to get there someday.
Yeah, you got to come on out. I mean, really, it's just, 6 hours on a plane or something? LA is a cool auto show for a couple of important reasons. One, it's the first major auto show of the auto show season. And two, LA being a progressive community, we kind of set the tone for what's coming up, in the automotive world. So yeah, a lot of trends are emerging from the LA Auto Show this year.
Aha. So tell me, what is the biggest auto trend this year?
Well, actually, I'm standing in front of a Mazda 3, which just won the Innovation Car of the Year award from the Motor Press Guild. And it kind of is a perfect synopsis of where the industry is going, which is to say more fuel efficient, so up to 41 miles per gallon on the freeway, coupled with a car that's actually a lot of fun to drive. I spent quite a few hours driving the Mazda 3, and it's a really great car. It's also a little bit more premium inside than you'd expect. That's another direction that we're seeing is this infusion of premium materials and premium features in cars that are more accessibly priced.
So you get to drive a lot of these cars, Micah?
Oh yeah, I do. It's not a bad gig.
That's a dream job right there. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
In fact, one of the cars that I'm really excited about driving, which they unveiled yesterday, I'm a performance car guy, they unveiled the new Subaru WRX, and as a guy who really likes power and also has a bit of a fascination with the world of rallying, the all-wheel drive WRX with 268 horsepower is really super cool. One of the nice things is that they unveiled a concept earlier this year, sort of giving us an idea of what this WRX is going to look like, and the production car actually kind of looks like the concept. So it's got some cool styling, and it should be a lot of fun to drive. And again, much like the Mazda 3, good fuel economy, up to 30 miles per gallon on the freeway.
How about pricing for that car? How would you say, where would you say it falls?
Haven't unveiled pricing just yet, but I think you're probably safe thinking, sort of in the mid $20,000 range, 25, 26 thereabouts.
Oh wow, so really affordable too.
Not bad.
Oh wow. So let me ask you, with the rise of hybrid and alternative fuel vehicles, what do you think the future is going to be like for the American auto industry?
Well, in the short term, the future is going to still entail normal gasoline-powered cars. That's going to make the absolute bulk of what's sold out there. But you're going to see a reduction in displacement, so smaller engines. The Audi A3 lineup introduced or shown yesterday, sort of in its full range, is a good example. You've got a 1.8 liter, you've got a 2 liter forced induction, 4-cylinder, small engines, but put out a lot of power. In fact, the most powerful version of the A3, which is called the S3, puts out 290 horsepower, again, from a small displacement engine. So gasoline is definitely going to be the dominant force for as much as we hear about hybrids. But there is a trend kind of emerging, especially here at this particular LA Auto Show, where hydrogen seems to be making a little bit of a comeback. We've heard a lot about battery electrics recently, but Hyundai unveiled a fuel cell version of their Tucson, which is hydrogen powered. So you've got this vehicle that basically runs like an electric car. When you're driving it, it drives like an electric car. There's zero emissions, except you can, instead of having a long recharge time like you do with a regular battery electric, you can just plug it in at or fuel it up at a hydrogen fueling station, assuming you can find one, and in the time it takes to fill up a regular gasoline powered car, you're ready to go again. And the crazy thing about the Hyundai Tucson fuel cell vehicle is that you're going to actually be able to buy it. It's going on sale in the spring. You'll be able to lease it, which is incredible. So it's the first mass-produced fuel cell vehicle. It's kind of a good time, an amazing time to be a car enthusiast.
Absolutely. It's funny. I just read an article about the hydrogen fuel cells, and they said that there's some huge advantages to it, but one of the biggest issues right now is fuel distribution. It's just tough to find, not a lot of places, and I'm sure that if you're going to find them, there's probably a lot more in LA than there is in Buffalo, New York right now.
Well, that's why they're going to launch it initially here, and the idea is as infrastructure expands, then they can sell it in more areas. But yeah, it's definitely kind of an LA thing. We have, I believe, 4 stations currently open right now, one in Santa Monica, real nearby.
Oh wow! So what is it? I mean, so basically, with one of these vehicles, you basically kind of do the same thing you do with a gas-powered vehicle, drive it in, and just sort of No kidding.
Yeah, I've been there. I drove Honda's previous fuel cell vehicle, and by the way, Honda also introduced a fuel cell vehicle as well here, a concept, sort of what they're going to introduce shortly. But yeah, you just sort of connect the thing, and it's not long. It fills up with hydrogen. And the cool thing about hydrogen that we really need to think about is that most of it is produced from natural gas, and natural gas is a resource that we have an abundance of here in America. So from an energy independence standpoint, hydrogen shows a lot of promise.
Wow, yeah, that'd be, I look forward to seeing how that progresses, how that technology progresses, and I'm sure it won't be really too many years in the future before you do start seeing a few more, vehicles out there, and of course they got to get together and start getting some service stations built to distribute it.
Yeah, well, we're at the tip of the spear here in LA, so as LA goes, hopefully the rest of the country.
Absolutely. Now, listen, I'm just sort of curious. I know a couple of the vehicles that you already mentioned, but what else out there? I mean, when you're walking around this show and just seeing so much, I mean, it's probably there's wow this, wow that, wow this, wow that. But I mean, what else is new and exciting out there?
Let's see. I'm actually a Mini Cooper owner, so they introduced the new 3rd generation Mini Cooper, so that's kind of exciting to me. One of the cool cars that stood out to me was the Mercedes-Benz Vision AMG Gran Turismo, and what's so cool about that is it's a car that's designed for the video game Gran Turismo coming out on PlayStation 3, except they built a real-life version of it. It's like the wildest looking car you can imagine. In fact, there's pictures of it at kbb.com if you wanted to check it out. It's the kind of like super fanciful car. It's the thing that, like when you were young playing with a Matchbox car, that kind of enthusiasm, that's what I have for that car. So
wow.
That's what you want to see, those crazy concept cars. That's what's so good about an auto show.
Yeah, absolutely. And and they do a show here in February, and it's always a great show, well attended. Let me ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
Now, because a lot of the cars that you mentioned, what about in the American auto cars? Have you seen anything that sort of piqued your interest?
Absolutely. 2 cars come to mind. Number one, the Chevy Colorado, which they unveiled yesterday, is an exciting one because the mid-size pickup truck segment, not as sexy as cars built for Gran Turismo, but it's an important one because it represents sort of a neglected segment, and the Colorado looks like it's going to be a real solid contender. It's kind of a space that the American manufacturers had abandoned, but something that's a little bit smaller than a full size, a little bit more efficient, but still has plenty of practicality and usability to it is great. And then also Ford introduced a concept version of their next generation Ford Edge, and it's a good looking crossover. In fact, I think it looks pretty close to what we can expect from a production car. So Ford is just still on a roll with good products and stuff that looks good, the kind of cars you actually are excited to drive.
Yeah, that's I'll tell you, that's it's always great to hear. I mean, to see the the auto industry and what's happening with it, and just the the newest innovations and trends. So yeah, I think it's a super time to really be a car enthusiast.
Yeah, we don't think about it, but this is the golden era, and all the manufacturers out here are showing some really great stuff, and especially the American manufacturers. It's great to see them coming on strong. So yeah, I mean, if you can't make the trip out to LA, but you want to check out all the cool stuff here, definitely swing by kbb.com and check out our coverage.
Absolutely, I'll be more than happy to do that. Well, Micah, listen, it's been great talking to you. Enjoy the show, and thank you once again for joining us on the Kiosk Presents.
Happy to be here.